once elected and the government is abolished, then what would a resident of Texas hear if they dial 911?
Is 911 a useful service to you?
The times that I've needed it, I really needed it.
So it's something that you're going to want. So I think we could agree that there's a market demand for an emergency number you can call on your phone to have people come to protect you, or at least to clean up the mess after it's over, which is how 911 usually works, right? It's the cops arrive after everything's over to help out, or to report a crime or things like that. Anywhere there's a market demand. Go ahead. No, please go ahead.
One of the biggest responses, or the most common responses I hear whenever I'm talking about anarchism regarding law enforcement and military and judges, is the transition, the phase. So a lot of people say, well, I can support anarchism, but it couldn't be immediate. There would need to be a pragmatic residual, or a pragmatic slow dissolvement of the government. So the question to be asked would be, would there be an in-between period between you being elected and allowing private organizations to replace those government operations? Would there be a time period at which if someone called 911, they would hear nothing?
So the transition is something that cannot be predicted. The ethical position, the only moral position to take, is end consent violations now. And that is my only position, and will only ever be my position. To say that, oh, we want to ease the transition incrementally, is just another way of saying, I want to violate people's consent on a gradient time scale between now and a month from now, or 3 months from now, or 5 years from now, or whatever your transition period of preference is. That is equally immoral to saying, for the purposes of keeping people safe, I'm going to violate your consent every day from now on. It's the same argument with just a small time variable changed. I would never support any violations of consent. From the moment I would win, people's consent becomes sacrosanct. That means coercive taxation ends day one immediately, because that's what I'm doing. I'm bringing that message of non-consent to be governed, to be taxed, to be controlled anymore, day one, immediately. That's how ethics work. It's on or off. It's not a gradient of maybes along the way. In fact, that's a great way to lose if you listen to Rothbard. Does that answer that question, or did you have something you wanted me to expand on? Oh, yeah. So, no, yeah, sorry, I didn't actually answer the question. So on day one, if somebody dials 911, what happens? Well, in day one, if a water company for your local municipal water supply company realizes that they can no longer coercively maintain their customer base, they still have a massive amount of equipment under their control. They still have a big group of employees, all with the skills necessary for delivering water. They just lose their ability to take tax money to get a paycheck every day. So they have an immediate, strong market motivation to get their butts out and go door to door if necessary to restore their customer base. Except now it would be voluntary, and they would be asking people to give them their service. They could do that day one. Day one, they stop getting an automatic forced paycheck. They better get out there and start selling pretty quick if they want to, keep paying their bills a month or two later. I don't think that it would take very long at all for these people to restore, because there's a demand for these services. Otherwise, they wouldn't exist in a democracy. If most of the people didn't want water service, if most of the people didn't want 911 service and protection, then it wouldn't exist in a democracy, right? As long as the government exists through the consent of the people. So you're going to have a lot of police with a lot of training on how to protect people. I'm not going to agree that maybe they're good at it in the way that they would have to be in a free market, but you're going to have a large labor pool with skills and training and a love, at least, for that line of work that are going to want paychecks. Well, they better figure a way real quick on how to properly satisfy a market demand that they haven't had to worry about before. Hey, do you want a great example would be like insurance companies. I think insurance companies and dispute resolution organizations would probably play a much larger role in a free society. So if you want an insurance policy, like a self-protection insurance policy, one of the things that's definitely going to come with that is an emergency number you can call where people with training would respond very quickly. So I think the market demand, being as high as it would be for these things, would impel people to very quickly reorganize their structures that used to be based on coercive free money into, hey, please let me serve you now for a low fee of $29.95 a month. We'll respond to your 911 calls, or whatever it ends up, what the price ends up being as part of your insurance policy or something like that. Does that help?
Absolutely. Your answer reminds me of a quote. I'm 90% sure Larry Sharpe said it. He was asked the question, but who will build the roads? And he said, the same people that are building the roads now. And whenever I analyze your answer and the things I've heard in my research of who would build the roads, who would offer the services that government isn't offering anymore, such as law enforcement and judges and things of that nature. I'm sorry, I was getting to a question with that.
It's just fun to think about.
Here was the question.
Okay, go ahead. I just had like a fun thought.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
So I'm slightly familiar with the Libertarian Pragmatic Caucus, which what they would do is they would slowly edge people off the government, slowly remove the government to eventually a libertarian society. But the question is there an opposite libertarian caucus that would do it more quickly? And if so, what would be the name of that caucus?
The Mises Caucus. They seem to be the Libertarian Caucus in the Libertarian Party, as far as I can tell. Yeah, that would be the cool thing I was thinking of was just like, imagine sitting in your house, day 2 after the government is abolished and you're free, and your doorbell rings, and the chief of police is going door to door saying, "Hey, we've lost our income. Would you please sign up with our new safety protection service? We're going to, agree to provide these services. We're going to agree to try and protect you from these things. And we also agree that, we're going to stop abusing you for victimless crimes like stop signs and vegetation in your pocket. Please, sir, please sign up with our service." First of all, I would slam the door in his face, tell him to get the F off my property. But, but like then like 10 minutes later, your doorbell rings again, and it's the dudes from the water company. And 10 minutes later, it's the dude from the roads in the local area. Like, it would just imagine the first week of being free. All the people, all the services that you've been forced to fund the entire time, you would finally be in control, and you'd finally have that power, and they would be coming and begging you for your money instead of just depending on guns to take it from you. Oh God, it would be so cool. I just got excited.
People would no longer be deciding the direction of our country through a vote. They would be deciding the direction of our country through their dollars by answering those door knocks whenever people ask for money to fund law enforcement. You reminded me of a quote by Mr. Darrell Perry, who ran for president in 2016, seeking the Libertarian Party's nomination. He said, he was actually discussing the military, the United States military, and he said they should only be funded through donations and bake sales.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I thought it was, yeah.
Ask a Libertarian Facebook fan page is spreading awareness of libertarianism and informing non-libertarians while empowering those who support liberty on a daily basis. This is your opportunity to be empowered, and let us advocate libertarianism for you at facebook.com/askalibertarian.